The president insisting that both sides are to blame for the deadly violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, equating white supremacists on one side with the other side that he calls the alt-left. Michael Moore is here, award-winning filmmaker who is currently on Broadway in The Terms of My Surrender. Thank you. You were out there tonight at Trump Tower with members of your audience from the Broadway show, right? And
yes, at the end of the showing.
the candlelight vigil. Was that vigil? Yes. What was the scene?
Well, I invited my audience at the end of the show only 12 blocks away, and I had buses for people wanting to bus so they could walk. And it was a candlelight vigil in memory of Heather Hare, someone who was killed in Charlottesville. And but also, we just wanted to remind the world that Trump does not speak for this country. He hasn't since day one, because he doesn't represent the majority of this country. But I think I got to tell you, I watched you this afternoon. I saw after the press conference, you came on with the others, and it was very powerful. You talk about African-American kids who have to walk into a high school under the name Robert E. Lee, past a statue of a man who basically wanted them dead or enslaved. I don't want to hear this. I don't want any fellow American, regardless of their color or their religion or their culture or whatever, to ever feel the way you described how so many black kids grow up in this country having to feel. This has to stop. And I say this knowing that the minority that I am is I'm one of the 1/3 of the white guys who didn't vote for Trump. We don't talk about this one. 2/3, 64%, almost 2/3 of white men voted for Trump. 53% of white women, the majority, voted for Trump. David Duke's tweet this weekend was maybe one of the most oddest things I saw online, when he said to Donald Trump, look in the mirror, white America elected you, never forget it. And Mr. Duke, you've got that right on. He was elected by white America.
You came on the show before election night and you said that you believed that Trump was going to win. You said, and you talked about the support in your area. How do you think those people where you live and who you know who supported him, how do you think they feel now? How do they feel now?
Honest, I've spoken to a few of them late this afternoon after that press conference, because I wanted to know the answer to that question. They voted for Trump because they were angry. You know, they voted for Trump because they wanted to throw a bomb into the system that had hurt them. They lost their jobs. They're no longer part of the middle class. But, you know, what I said to them, and I really thought about this after you and I, the last time, you know, because you made this point to me, and I've said this to them since. Yeah, you have every right to be upset that the system has let you down, the American system. But, you know, black people have every right to be upset that the American system has certainly let them down. They don't go to the polls and vote for the hater. Black Americans, by a large margin, vote for the person who doesn't hate, who's trying to love. So you can't bring yourself to, yes, you have a right to feel this way, but the way you're going to respond is by voting for the hater. And well, I'm not a racist, even though he might be a racist. I'm not a racist. Really? Well, I don't, you know, if you vote for a racist, what are you then? Because it sure sounds like racism.
Is it complicit or either you're an enabler? Do you think he's a racist? You're saying he's
absolutely a racist. And I'm telling you, he knows exactly, I've said this before on your show, he's not as stupid as people want to believe he is. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows the words to use. And I'm certain that the 63 million people that voted for him actually, vast majority of them love that press conference.
Well, not all Trump supporters.
Not all. I said the vast majority.
But they take offense to people calling them racist because they supported him.
Yeah, but what are
so then how do you? The question is that how do you deal with that?
If you hold down the woman while the rapist is raping her, and you didn't rape her, are you a rapist? I mean, let's just really let's cut the BS and start speaking honestly. If you vote for a man who says what he said today, that the white nationalists were the victims, that he equated George Washington and Thomas Jefferson with Robert E. Lee, and and said that the people there trying to stop the racism, the anti-racism protesters, that they were the violent ones. They were the, you know, that is just, it just went so far. But I'm telling you,
that's a very powerful and comfortable anecdote that you share, and people will think that you're comparing Trump voters to racists. I mean, to rapists.
yeah,
And
it's
that,
uncomfortable, isn't it?
that is uncomfortable.
Yeah, because enablers of immoral behavior, of criminal behavior, it is absolutely criminal to stand behind the people that killed Heather Hare, that beat the heads in of people who were trying to, speak their minds in Charlottesville. If you are there, if you participate, even though you're not the actual person doing it, if you help to put Donald Trump in office, you need to think about this before you kneel down and say your prayers tonight. Think about this person that you now have leading this country. And there is redemption in this. You can stop tomorrow morning. You can stop supporting him, and you can say, I can't take anymore, and this was probably a mistake, me voting for him, and you can change.
You know you're going to get a lot of blowback for that, right?
I hope I do. I've had it, Don. I'm not, at the end of that press conference today, I wasn't angry. That wasn't my first response. First thing I did, honest to God, was frankly what I saw you and Chuck Todd over on the other cable channel doing was almost in tears. I was in tears. And you can't, the white people watching this, 2/3 of the white men of this country who wanted Donald Trump and voted for him for president, you are going to have to take a long, hard look in the mirror right now.
I think you have to own your own words. I think Donald Trump ultimately is responsible for his own words as well. I understand what you're saying, but again, it is an uncomfortable comparison, and sitting here listening is tough.
Sorry that, yeah, well, it was uncomfortable watching this today. And anybody who supports that, if you still support the racist, you are the racist. That has to end. I'm not letting anybody off the hook here. White people who voted for him, white people who made him happen, very strange that oddly, ironically enough, that Jeffrey Ward, fired from this network, called this a week ago with his Sieg Heil tweet. And you guys had to obviously and definitely had to fire him for that. But what, I mean, the man was ahead of his time, and a week later, his boy, Donald Trump, right there today. America has to stand up. We cannot any longer mealy-mouth about this. And if you want me to say it again, I'll say it again.
I got to run.
You got it. You got it the first time, right?
Yeah, I got it the first time.
Yeah. Anybody who enables, anybody who votes for, supports a racist, is a racist. You are culpable, white America. I'm sorry, but there is redemption for you. Thank you.
Never one to hold his words. Thank you very much.
Not today, not anymore.